And then every now and then I hear a call that makes me stop and think, this is what's wrong with our industry. And in the past month, I heard one of the worst calls I've ever heard. There was no introduction, just silence, and then straight into questions. Hey team, that is not intake. That's interrogation. This is a 20-minute call and no decision was ever made. It's unacceptable. So when you boil all this down, there are really three big lessons I want you to walk away. Number one, lead with humanity, not a script. Number two, make decisions fast. And number three, remove the friction for the potential client. Every call is a first impression, and every missed opportunity is one you can't get back. Welcome to the Intake Playbook, the podcast where we transform your law firm's intake process into a secret weapon. I'm your host, Gary Falkowitz, and I've spent more than a decade helping law firms across the country maximize their intake performance. If you want to stop leaving cases on the table, create a better client experience, and grow your revenue, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey folks, so I want to share something with you because every week I listen to intake calls from firms across the country. Most are fine. There are a few that are excellent. And then every now and then I hear a call that makes me stop and think, this is what's wrong with our industry. And in the past month, unfortunately or fortunately, I heard one of those calls. It was one of the worst calls I've ever heard. And I want to share with you, or at least I want to share the lessons that we should take from this call with you, because these lessons can change the way your firm approaches intake forever, starting right now. Now, this particular call continues to remind me about our industry. It was bad in many ways. And I want to walk you through 5 things that stood out. Number one, there was no introduction. The intake specialist never said their name throughout the whole call. No warm, who I am, how I can help, my role in the firm, my goals for this call, just silence, and then straight into questions. Hey team, that is not intake. That's interrogation. That's basic reception from 1973. It's cold. Number 2, no decision, even in 20 minutes. The call dragged on for 20 minutes. And by the end, no decision was communicated. The intake specialist told the caller, we'll share this information with the team and someone will call you back shortly. Wait a second. What? 20 minutes? And we didn't make a decision? If you've been paying attention to any of my masterclasses, any of my podcasts, anytime I'm on stage, you know the rule. Decision within 3. Within 3 minutes, your team needs to communicate the law firm's decision and intention with that caller. Do we want to sign them up? Do we want to send them out as a referral? Do we unfortunately want to let them know that we cannot help? 3 minutes. This is a 20-minute call, and no decision was ever made. It's unacceptable. You know the rules. Number 3, the firm missed an obvious case. Now, this is a personal injury, okay? The accident happened a week prior to the call. It was someone else's fault because it was a rear end. The claimant suffered an injury, and yet we didn't know that this was something we wanted to investigate, that we wanted to sign up. I'll give you the example. The caller, immediately after stating his injuries, the intake specialist's first question was, did you go see a doctor? Really? No compassion? No reassurance? No, I'm really sorry to hear about your shoulder being in so much pain, but I want you to know you did the right thing by calling our law firm because we handle rear end cases all the time, especially when someone's been injured. Where was that? It was just information retrieving throughout the conversation. No empathy, no acknowledgement, no human connection. Number 4, do you want to know the worst question that was asked on this call? And by the way, if your team is asking this question, I want you to remove it immediately. And I have a feeling some of you know exactly what question I'm going to tell you about right now. Here's the question. How did you hear about us? You knew I was going to go there, guys. That question should no longer be asked, especially not at the beginning of the call, like unfortunately this intake specialist asked. Why should that question no longer be asked? Because that question is about your ego. It's about your attribution. It's about finding out which marketing venture or which advertising decision that you made worked. Move on from that. in this day and age, if you don't know how they found you automatically, technologically, move on. You're only going to upset a caller if you make the caller about you or make the call about you and not about their circumstances. And number 5, asking the client to do the work. So at one point in this call, the intake specialist told the caller, I just need you to get me a copy of that police report so I could share it with our legal team, and then they could get a better idea as to whether they can help. Now, I'm telling you this honestly, and as someone who has listened to thousands of calls and reviewed tens of thousands of intake, please never, and I mean never, ask a potential client to go chase down a document before you become their attorney. If I'm a potential claimant and I call 3 law firms, and oh, by the way, I want you to assume that every potential claimant calls 3 law firms. But if I'm that potential claimant and one of those law firms asks me to get a report for them to review, I'm now down to 2 law firms to consider because I am no longer considering the law firm that is asking me to do the work. Why? Because people want easy. People want convenience. They want help, and they want you, the professionals, to take over the work. And yes, that includes things like getting photos, getting reports, or getting records. Retain first, then investigate. You know one of the Garyisms, right? Retain, then investigate. Not investigate, then retain. So when you boil all this down, there are really 3 big lessons I want you to walk away. Number 1, lead with humanity, not a script. Start with your name. Show empathy. Acknowledge the person before you interrogate the situation, because intake and representation is about a connection, not just data collection. Number 2, make decisions fast. Guys, potential clients, they want certainty. They reserved a certain amount of time at a certain time in the day to make this phone call. And they want to get something out of that phone call. They want decisiveness. And if it's a case you can take, communicate that quickly. 3 minutes. Communicate that quickly. Don't drag people through 20 minutes of Q&A with no outcome. And number 3, remove the friction for the potential client. Never make prospects do the heavy lifting. Your job is to make their life easier in one of the hardest moments they've ever faced. So think about what you have scripted. Think about your processes. Are you making it harder for them or easier for them? And to win, the answer has to be the latter. So this is the worst intake call I ever heard in the last month. And it was painful, but it was also a gift. It's a reminder of what not to do and a wake-up call for firms that think their intake process is good enough. Every call is a first impression. Every caller is a potential advocate, and every call is a chance to win or lose trust. And in 2025, the firms that win are the ones that lead with humanity, make decisions fast, and take the burden off of the potential client. Because remember, every call matters. Every client matters. Every turned down client or turned down claimant matters. And every missed opportunity is one you can't get back. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for listening to the Intake Playbook Podcast. If this episode sparked a new idea or insight, take a moment to screenshot it and post it in the Intake Playbook group on Facebook. Share what resonated with you or what you'd like me to dive into next. Your input helps shape this podcast, and I'd love to hear from you. Let me ask you this. Is your intake process maximizing every opportunity? If not, I created the Intake Masterclass to help. Inside, you'll get access to the tools and strategies I've used to help firms transform their intake process and turn missed opportunities into measurable wins. Plus, you'll join a network of professionals all focused on growing their firms. The ROI you'll see from refining your intake will speak for itself. Visit intakeplaybook.com today and start making every lead count. Thank you again for spending your time with me on the Intake Playbook Podcast. Remember, intake isn't just about systems. It's about building trust and creating connections. Keep pushing forward. And if you're looking for more resources or details from today's episode, check out the show notes at intakeplaybook.com. I'll see you there.